It's weird. It really makes you appreciate the 1939 direction of
Right.
Wizard of Oz and how quick paced that movie is.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like an hour shorter. I don't know how this is
It,
that much longer. Like, it's crazy, actually.
it's the same story.
Exactly. They like doubled the time. Why?
Hello and welcome to May the Review Be With You with Nick and Joe. I'm Joe.
Nick, welcome back, everybody, to Ozfest. This is part 3, and today we are journeying back into the world of Oz, the land of Oz. We are covering 3 additional films in the ever-growing Ozverse. We will be covering Journey Back to Oz, 1972 animated film, which is supposed to be the direct sequel to Wizard of Oz. We will be covering everyone's favorite, The Wiz, 1978 live adaptation of the musical. And then last but not least, we will be covering Return to Oz.
The dark Disney fantasy.
The dark Disney fantasy, indeed, from the year 1985, excuse me, Return to Oz. And yeah, it's Ozfest Part 3. For those of you who missed the first 2 parts, go back and watch those. In Ozfest Part 1, we covered the original Wizard of Oz and Wicked. And then
Wicked Part 1, by the way. That's the title of that movie, Wicked Part 1.
Yeah.
I bring this up for a specific reason. We'll get there.
And then Ozfest Part 2 was Wicked for Good. That was a primary.
Not Wicked Part 2. We're still waiting for that to come out.
And now Ozfest Part 3. The reason we're doing this is because everyone loves The Wizard of Oz. They love Wicked, and the universe is crazy. It's extensive. There's, 30, 40 books, and
yeah, brother, talk about a franchise that will not die. There will be Oz things for like the rest of time. The rest of time.
Undeniable, unkillable, undeathable, forever living. That's canon and non-canon adaptations. You pick.
Yeah, it has a total immortalis life. I assume that's how they would say immortal in Oz. But yeah, I did not know how much I would enjoy Oz as much as I have this year going through these movies with you, Nick. And as you were saying, like there is so much Oz media out there. I mean, like we've talked about the books in earlier Ozfest cast, where I think there's like over 30, close to 40 canonical books. And then there's even more non-canonical books.
Yeah.
And so many different films. And like, yeah, there have been readaptations of the 1938 Wizard of Oz film, but then there have also been sequels or different kinds of spin-offs. And it's just, as I think we've talked about before, Oz is just a place that we as a society have decided we're never leaving. We are staying in Oz forever. And there, I know. I was just gonna say, like that there are other like things that are very Ozonian that we keep referencing the Wizard of Oz. I think we brought up Agatha all along and how like that was like a direct reference to the Wizard of Oz, and there's so many other things like it.
For sure, yeah. And part of that is just because of how iconic the original Wizard of Oz was when it came out, right? And and we've talked about this before. It's like the most viewed movie of all time, and so
actually is.
It has so much influence in all these other stories that are told over the last give or take 100 years, right? And so it's just intertwined in our storytelling space, and it forever will be. And so that's why we're just like, let's just keep the train rolling and talk about more Wizard of Oz film. They're not all created equal. Some are better than others. Some are not worth watching again. And we're going to kind of get into that today. We're going to start with Journey Back to Oz, which, again, like I mentioned at the top, was a direct sequel. However, it's animated. And, let's kick it off, Joe. What you got?
I will say, just in reference to not all Oz movies are created equal, that Ozfest Part 1 and Ozfest Part 2, I feel like we had a really great time discussing those movies, even some of the lowlights. Ozfest Part 3 is going to be a little different. Just a little different. Because we definitely settled on some of the. If anyone loves these movies, I respect that. I really do. Some moments, maybe even a lot of moments in these movies were hard to get through.
Oh,
Um, let's start with, like you said, Journey Back to Oz. This was the animated sequel from Dorothy's Adventures in Oz. It was directed by Hal Sutherland, who had done work on Disney's Peter Pan. He had done work on Snow White. So quite a resume right there. Um, I'm gonna start off with some of the high notes here. Um, Animation's gorgeous. The animation actually like rules in this movie. It looks really good.
yeah.
For what was it? 1973, you said?
1972.
1972.
Yeah. 1972. Agreed. Animation's great. It's a total Saturday morning cartoon feel. And it really, I think it's probably the best overall of the three that we're going to talk about today, as just as an overall movie goes. Um, and I think, with how the Oz universe is and with this particular story, right, being like a follow up to The Wizard of Oz, it's kind of an interesting way to tell this second story, or the follow up, right? It's um, based on the Marvelous Land of Oz book. And there's something about like the follow up being animated that makes it easier to digest too, with like what's going on in the world they're building. If you follow up here with the Return to Oz, which is a live action kind of follow up, there's some similarities and differences which we'll get to, but yeah, overall the animation's cool in like a refreshing way to view the world rather than the live action stuff that's primarily out there.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really great point. I mean, like The Wizard of Oz in 19, I keep screwing this up. I think it's 1939. When it came out, it was a technical marvel, right?
Mhm.
For what they were doing, and like to this day, like it holds up in so many ways. Um, but I think transitioning into an animated universe, I think that actually works really well for what Oz is, like a very fantastical place. So taking advantage of like the animated medium, I think that was brilliant, right? There's a sin in animation where you can tell when the budget is not all there because characters are just standing still unnaturally as they're speaking, and that is never happening in this movie. People are always moving all the time, and I think that's so fun and captivating because it gives so much more personality to the characters, and that's just something that comes across much better in animation than it ever will in like live action, right? Especially with some of the more fantastical creatures that we come across in Oz. That being said, if I never hear the sound of an elephant again, I would die happy. This movie takes the sounds of elephants and abuses your ears with them for like 50 minutes. I am referring to the green elephants that are antagonist summons in order to invade Oz. Green elephants are apparently a devastating magical force in Oz, and they are always screaming. They're always screaming their elephant noises as loud as they can, and I hate it. I've never hated elephants before this movie. This movie made me hate elephants.
And not just elephants, but mice as well. Like
No, I actually love the mice. The mice made the elephants go away.
mice
That was
made the elephants
great.
go away. Sure, but the most unrealistic thing, right? Like the only thing the elephants are, uh, the only thing that they can succumb to is magical mice. Like,
Right, right.
what are we doing?
There is some charm to this movie. That there are
Yeah.
some genuine jokes that made me laugh. I'll get to the one that actually made me burst out laughing at the end. But yeah, the things about like how do you get rid of magical elephants? You get rid of them with
Mhm.
magical mice. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. Like you could only get away with that in a cartoon. Like that's charming.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um, and the other thing too that is really cool about Journey Back to Oz is Liza Minnelli. The daughter of the original Dorothy, Judy Garland, is the voice of Dorothy in this follow up film.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
Very cool little Easter egg, I guess, if you will, because like if you're watching it now, it feels more like an Easter egg, right? In
No, yeah,
1970. bit.
It's a nod. It's a nod
Right.
to the original film, and I'm glad you brought that up. It is wild to me how almost exactly the same Liza Minnelli's voice is to
Hmm.
Judy Garland when she
Yeah.
was like 16 or 18, I think 16. Um, when she was in the original Wizard of Oz, she sounds just like Dorothy. Honestly, that's one of the biggest highlights of the movie. It sounds just like her.
Yeah.
Same cadence, same voice. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I think that helps like kind of ease you into it as far as it being the follow up, but it being animated instead of live action, right? There's just like almost like you said, there's like a familiarity to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just feels like a natural kind of continuation. Um, and just really awesome, like the voice casting there, all around.
There is one more voice cast
Mhm.
that is a reference to the original movie. That was pretty cool. You're nodding, so I can tell you already know what it is. Um, Margaret Hamilton, who played the Wicked Witch of the West in the original movie, she plays Dorothy's aunt in this movie, which was really cool to bring that actor in after 30 years of a career to be part of the sequel. I thought that was really cool. I only caught this because Margaret Hamilton's name, I did not know that that was the actress who played the Wicked Witch of the West. Shame on me. Um, but I only caught this because that's my grandma's name is Margaret Hamilton. And I was like, whoa. And like I like looked up the actress after that and then found out, oh wow, she's pretty famous actually.
Joe just found out that his grandmother was a famous actress.
She actually shares a lot in common with the Wicked Witch of the West, so there you go.
Oh man. Um, oh gosh, what else? What else sticks out here? Um,
Um, I will tell you, just on I guess on talking about some of the low notes here. We haven't really talked about much about what the story is. The story is Dorothy really wants to go back to Oz, and a cyclone returns her to Oz with Toto, and in doing so, she arrives at a time just before a cousin to the Wicked Witch of the West, Mombi, is going to be invading Oz with her magical green elephants. And the story becomes about how Dorothy saves Scarecrow, who is king of Oz now, which very cool, um, and how she returns him to the throne and how she defeats Mombi. It's basically the story. She meets some new characters along the way. Every one of them will do a song introduction when they appear on screen. And it got to the point where I really just started rolling my eyes.
yeah,
And I understand this is kind of a nod to the original film, but there were only three characters really.
yeah,
So we only got like the three songs of the three characters, right?
right,
And there are a lot more characters in this movie.
right.
Some of them aren't even going to travel with Dorothy. One of
Yeah,
them's just a sign, and he's certainly going to give you a song.
yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the music because obviously, like follow up to Wizard of Oz, they're kind of they made this musical as well. Um, you know, none of those songs really stood out to me, and I can't even remember one of them now. So it wasn't bad, like I mean it's animated and it's supposed to be fun and it is, but it's not the same. You don't have the same earworms you do from the OG Wizard of Oz, right? Um, and so that's kind of the funny part for me. It's like, okay, musical, couple songs, but not like, you know, breaking the uh joy or whatever. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so forgettable essentially. For being harsh.
No, I would definitely agree with that. Also, like the some of the characters that get reintroduced in this movie are in my opinion, kind of disappointing.
Mhm.
Tin Man and Cowardly Lion, we get to see them again, and unfortunately, I feel like they're kind of shadows of themselves.
Yeah.
Granted, they don't get a lot of screen time, but Tin
And
Man is not very compassionate, and then
yeah.
Cowardly Lion is still cowardly.
Yeah, it's weird because they chose like you would think that both those characters like the follow-ups would be more brave and more compassionate and more like better versions of themselves because of what they learned, in
Right.
Wizard of Oz, especially
From Dorothy.
this is supposed to be a follow-up, but instead
Yeah.
they decided to just like nix those characters pretty much from the story, and then we see them, but they're not key pieces and they don't
No.
help, which
No,
is
not at all.
funny.
I I
Uh,
will say that Scarecrow's thing about like he has a brain now, but that doesn't make him intelligent. I actually thought that that was really funny.
yeah.
And and while I don't like his song, I like what his song was about. And that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that.
Love that.
While I can't say any of the characters or most of the characters really stood out to me, there was one who was a clear standout to me, and I am referring to Woodhead Stallion the Third. He's like the MVP of the movie. Like he literally carries the team on his back. He decks an elephant in the face, which is how they're able to get the magic box that they get from Glinda, which gives them the magic mice. He carries everything. He actually moves the plot along. He's the best character, not only in this movie, but of all three movies that we are going to talk about. Yeah,
Alright.
I'm putting my foot down on this. Yeah, no, Woodhead Stallion the Third is awesome, and I love him.
All right, Joe has made a declaration. Although,
Prove
after watching
me wrong.
after watching all three of these films, Joe, I don't know if that statement is that huge. Okay, like the best character of these three films, like, yeah, they're rough.
He's
They're a
one of
little
the few
rough.
characters that actually does something.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What else?
Oh, just my final note. Just the joke at the end that actually made me laugh. So Scarecrow, King of Oz, when he's thanking everybody, and he gives rewards, of course, to everyone before they go. Stallion is made part of his royal guard, or maybe his royal like steed service. I forgot exactly what that was. But Pumpkinhead, which is a character we were introduced to, and we will see again in another movie.
Yeah.
Pumpkinhead is made the advisor of agriculture, I believe, the royal advisor to agriculture. And Pumpkinhead's response to this is, I will rise to my responsibilities to the best of my incapabilities. And everyone cheers. And then his next response is, "Whoa, talk about bananas, am I right?" And like, for some reason, that hit me. That hit me in like the perfect gut moment. I burst out laughing at that scene. It was so stupid.
Saturday morning cartoons, baby.
Yeah,
Telling
yeah,
you.
it's exactly what it was.
That's
exactly
what
what
it
it
is.
was.
Like, and you know
Yeah.
what? I think it's worth watching if you want to put on
I would say so.
a Saturday
Yeah.
morning cartoon. It's definitely, it's probably, and by probably I mean I think it's the best of the three we're going to talk about today. Definitely worth a watch. It's the shortest.
I'll debate you on that.
It's the shortest of the three, so that's helpful. But yeah, Journey Back to Oz. Check it out.
Yeah, if you like Oz, I feel like you actually might walk away with some joy in your heart for that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Transitioning to the next movie in our Ozfest Part 3. This is 1978 live action reimagining of The Wizard of Oz. Wiz, 1978. Again, this is a reimagining, so it's takes place in New York City, a decaying New York City, and it's an African American reimagination of the original Wizard of Oz.
A New York version of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Version. Very interesting.
Well, we're off to a rough start.
It was like it got destroyed by critics when this film originally came out. It is now kind of viewed more as a cult classic. That kind of makes sense. It is so hard to say an immediate nice thing because the film really it's tough. But the thing that does stand out are the songs. And the songs are awesome. in this film, in my opinion. And when I was watching it, it actually made me be like, oh, I wonder if this is like on Broadway or if this is currently like showing, because Wiz, the live action film, was adapted from the musical from 4 years prior. So it was originally a musical, kind of very similar to Wicked, right? Wicked was originally a musical, and then eventually
That's a good point.
adapted to film, right?
Yeah.
The Wiz, same thing, was originally a musical, and they're like, let's make this live action. And so they did with Michael Jackson and was it Diana Ross?
Diana Ross.
Yeah,
Yeah, the cast is stacked.
yeah.
Richard Pryor is
Nipsey
the
Russell,
wizard.
like
Yeah,
ridiculous cast.
great cast.
Cast is awesome, but this is also why I think the songs for the most part are really really fun and entertaining. There's some exceptions, but when I was watching it, I was like, man, I wonder if this is like showing, and it actually is. You can go see
Huh.
The Wiz. They're currently touring.
Whoa, that's how we
Actually,
should have done this.
go
We should have
online.
timed up Ozfest a little better.
Yeah, go online. You can find the tour, and they might be coming to a city near you. So, and that makes sense because for the most part, the songs are good. The film itself, the
It's rough.
storyline, the acting, I think the even like I didn't even love like the set design and everything, which like they built those sets, like it's all. I mean,
There's some. There was like two that stood out to me for set wise.
yeah,
But I agree with you. It just felt like for what they were trying to do, and I think what they're trying to do is pretty ambitious, right? To take like a beloved classic and reimagine it in a fairly modern and familiar way. It felt like they just didn't put a lot of budget into it.
right.
Like they blew it all on the cast.
Yeah, that's a great point. Maybe they did because it felt like it's supposed to be a reimagined decaying like New York City,
Right.
and like yes, it looked decayed, but I feel like they could have done like a way better job for that era.
Yeah.
The other thing that's ridiculous is the runtime of the film. I mean, it's
It
two
is
and a half
long.
hours long. It's
It's a slog.
1978, 2.5 hour film is not easy. Like,
No
uh,
intermission too.
yeah, unbelievable. It definitely drags, which is really tough. And the non singing acting parts, some of them are really rough.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as far as plot, like it's supposed to be a reimagining, so there's a ton of similarities. I mean, it's basically the Wizard of Oz, right? Like it's just the sets and the songs are all different, and it's reimagined. Um, but the storyline on the back end is essentially the same, right? We get Dorothy, we get Tin Man, we get Scarecrow, we get Cowardly Lion, we have the Wizard. All that is very basically the similar. So plot wise, there's not much different, but
I would actually say there is kind of one big thing
what?
plot wise. And I would actually say that this is my biggest compliment toward the movie, and I guess really toward the original production of The Wiz, is they changed Dorothy's motivation. Like, what does Dorothy want, right? And Dorothy, she lives in Brooklyn, right? I think she lives in Brooklyn.
Harlem.
Harlem. She lives in Harlem. She lives in Harlem. She's a 21-year-old, 23-year-old substitute teacher, or maybe no, elementary school teacher. She's an elementary school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And either her mother, her grandmother, the maternal figure in her life, tells her that, hey, you need to like get out into the world. You need to like explore and see the world. Like there's so much that you haven't learned. And she's like, what else could I possibly need and learn that I don't have at home right here? Which is the exact opposite of where Dorothy in the original film starts, right? Like she thinks that she needs to go out and see more, but everything that she needs is here in her home, in her heart, right? So actually, I love that inversion, and I think that was a really interesting idea. I thought that they were going to lose it, like more than 3/4 of the way through the film. I was like, all she's learning right now is how much better her home is, while she's like going through all this terrible stuff. But then she has the contrast with the wizard, who is very much somebody who it was like Dorothy, who's very much stuck in their ways, but she's seen the world, she's met these people, and she is forever changed. I have been changed for good. Yeah. So I will give respect to respect is due. I like that change. I think that was a really fun change for Dorothy.
That's a great call out. Yeah, that is pretty big change too, really, right? Like
It's a huge change.
huge
Yeah.
change. Everything is pretty similar except for the motivation for our main character in both stories.
Hmm.
That's a pretty big change.
Yeah.
That's a great call out. Yeah, and
Oh, real quick, just one more note on that. That'll be my biggest compliment for this film. And the other two films do not get that compliment because like Dorothy has no motivation really in Return to Oz or Journey Back to Oz. She just wants to go back to Oz. She's like,
right,
"Yeah, I want to go back to Oz." And
right.
then she finds out things are kind of messed up and she's like, "Things are messed up." And then like she, does her thing and saves the day and she's like,
Yeah,
"Well, this was nice. I want to go home now."
right,
And then she just
right.
goes home,
Yeah,
you
she
know?
wants to go back to Oz, and at the end of it, she's like, "Okay, I want to go back home now." It's like, "What?"
It's like it's not an Uber service,
Yeah,
girl, all
yeah.
right? Like
That's a great
pick your
comparison.
lane.
Yeah. So in The Wiz, very clear motivation for Dorothy. In
Yeah.
Journey Back to Oz and Return to Oz, which we're going to get to next, there's no motivation for Dorothy at all.
None, none. She's
Never
just
back
she's just
again.
here for the vibes. She's
Just
here to have fun.
yeah. Oh,
I just
goodness.
want to see my friend the king. Did you know my friend is the king?
Um. So The Wiz. What else? Do you have anything else you want to say about The Wiz?
I will give one more compliment toward the Wiz, and that is for the groovy tune of "Ease On Down the Road,"
Mm,
which is their version of "Follow the Yellow Brick Road." "Ease On Down the Road"
I
is such a banger,
banger.
such a bop.
Hey,
Oh man, it
Wiz
rules.
has
It's so
bangers.
good.
The Wiz has
Yeah.
bangers. Like, it's definitely worth going to see. I mean, it's a smash hit Broadway musical, so like you have to go see it. It's the movie just made me want to go watch the Broadway show. I will never watch Wiz the film again, but it definitely makes me want to watch it on Broadway because like I'm sure it is fantastic with those performances. Gotta be
Hmm.
yeah, and Ease on Down the Road is an absolute banger.
Absolute banger. It's still. I saw that movie like 5 days ago. That movie is still, or that song is still like grooving in my head. It's
Really,
good.
really. And to the Wiz's credit, they did build all of these sets, and they did build them all in New York, right? They used Coney Island, Lower Manhattan, World Trade Center, um, was
Wow.
on location set, and so they did a lot of this. Pretty much
What
everything.
do you recall what scene was the World Trade Center? Was that
Oh,
was that in Oz when they were in Oz?
yeah, it's hold on, I've got it right here.
Or sorry, Emerald City. That's what I'm thinking
Emerald
of.
City, yeah,
Emerald
Emerald
City.
City filmed at the World Trade Center in Lower Manhattan.
Wow.
Um,
That's historically a
yeah,
huge deal. Jeez.
base of the Twin Towers, and then Munchkin Land was like the New York State Pavilion. Um,
Oh, I did love the Munchkins. I thought the
yeah,
Munchkins were super freaking cool. That they so the thing with the Munchkins is they've been cursed by the Wicked Witch of the East, and they're graffitied onto the wall, and they can't get out until the Wicked Witch of the East is killed by Dorothy. I thought that was awesome. I was like, oh man, we're in for a ride. Like, let's go. Unfortunately, I never felt anything quite that innovative again after that. It was like, damn, that's disappointing.
yeah.
But I did like the Munchkin Land. I thought that
It,
was neat.
it's funny. I feel like we've just been talking about things we liked, but then when we really think about it, like it's not a good film. But there's a bunch of stuff that was cool
There's
and awesome.
there's good ideas. There's a lot of
Yeah.
good
Wow.
ideas in this movie.
It just
But
dragged, and the
that's
acting
that's it.
falls short too. Like
Yes.
the
Yes, I
acting
agree.
outside of music really is bad. So that just makes it drag, and then you're just like, eh.
Yeah, the script and the pacing is honestly awful.
Yeah.
I think the dialogue is for the most part not clever. I think the editing is so questionable, and it's like they only had two cameras to work with because like the cuts between shots are few and far between. It's kind of wild. And like for some reason, Michael Jackson plays the Scarecrow, by the way.
Right.
Which like when you get to see the Scarecrow move, like that's pretty cool, right? He's got the MJ
Right.
moves. But for some reason, like the go-to cut when something was going on, they have their wide shot of like all the players doing all their things. But then like when something happens and they need a reaction, they always cut to Michael, and it's just him making this ridiculous scarecrow face of like, oh, and like him just doing that, just like, oh, and like he has no idea what's going on, and maybe he didn't. Maybe Michael Jackson legitimately did not know what was going on, like as they were filming this, and it's just a weird cut every time, and they did it so often. They don't do that to anybody else, by the way. None of the other characters. It's just always to Michael.
Yeah. And speaking of the characters, my favorite character of Wiz is 100% Tin Man. Tin Man,
Really?
my favorite, the best. His song was the best one of the characters, in my opinion. I enjoyed his character. I thought he was like proper comedic relief, not comedic relief because certain scenes were bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he had like proper comedy that made me laugh and was like entertaining. So I enjoyed Tin Man and Wiz. If I'm going to give it some compliments, that's one.
Actually, my favorite was Cowardly Lion, actually.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe it was because it was comically bad. But I had a fun time with some of his stuff. And man, you need something to latch onto. You
yeah,
you need something because as we've been saying, the flow of this movie is just it's not good.
it,
There's a lot of dead time where no one's saying anything and no one's really doing anything that like drags the scenes out.
it's
It's
weird.
weird. It really makes you appreciate the 1939 direction of
Right.
Wizard of Oz and how quick paced that movie is.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like an hour shorter. I don't know how this is
It
that much longer. Like, it's crazy, actually.
it's the same story.
Exactly. They like doubled the time. Why?
Also, like, okay, so one more criticism here. I find it strange that we spent like an hour, maybe more, actually probably more than an hour getting our quartet together, right? Which like the OG movie does pretty fast. Um, and we are not introduced to our antagonist until like an hour and a half in, maybe almost 2 hours. And like we get rid of her pretty freaking easily, which like granted, we get rid of her pretty easily in The Wizard of Oz too. We threw a bucket of water on her, but she was with us through the entire journey.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like we got there together.
Yeah.
Whereas this, like, she has her scene, her intro song, not bad, pretty cool. And she's like, I don't know, the torture actually of all the characters is pretty heinous. But
Yeah.
then we ice her real quick.
Yeah. The torturing scene was pretty wild.
Yeah,
That
dude,
was,
they
I was
hung
like,
up Cowardly Lion by his tail.
yeah, that was crazy. That was like, what is going on right now? And then speaking of torture, I don't know if you want to segue here, but I'm ready to, if you're ready to transition because because
Because
the segue from the torture scene of Wiz is going to be to Return to Oz.
Ah,
The
yes, just what we wanted to do after watching The Wiz. Return to Oz.
adaptation is supposed to be the follow-up. It's supposed to be a sequel to Wizard of Oz, live action, right? There's a lot of
Right.
similarities to the animated Journey Back to Oz that we talked about briefly to Return to Oz. But Return to Oz, the reason I'm choosing torture to segue here is because it is a much darker tone film
Oh my god.
by Disney. Disney made this movie, which is unbelievable. And this Dorothy,
There's some dark Disney films out there, but yeah,
yeah,
no, I do agree. It's not what they're known for.
this Dorothy character is going to get electroshock therapy in this Disney film from 1985. What are we doing?
Which was Aunt Anne's idea. She's like, "Yo, my niece is not shutting up about this her imaginary land. I'm gonna send her to an insane asylum."
Unbelievable. Yeah. So Return to Oz, right? 1985. This is supposed to be a sequel to The Wizard of Oz. This is the live action version, right? And like we said, famous for a darker tone, sophisticated effects, which were groundbreaking for the time. We'll get to those. But the beginning of this film, right, is like, oh, Dorothy can't stop thinking about the land of Oz. She can't stop thinking about it. She can't stop talking about it. So her aunt's like, oh, you need help. I'm going to take you to a doctor to help you. It's like, oh, cool. Maybe like, like a mental health doctor, like not a big deal. No, takes her to an insane asylum doctor who then wants to perform electroshock therapy on her. Just like they're wheeling this thing out. I'm like, what? Is she about to be electrocuted back to Oz? Is that what's about to happen?
Almost.
Almost. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
She does befriend another little girl, and this is fairly important at the asylum, who is coming to her aid and helps her escape electrocution as a pretty bad storm is hitting around the facility of the insane asylum. Also, very notable here, Toto has been told to stay home because he's not insane, so that makes sense.
Right.
You don't send non-insane dogs to an insane asylum. But this is very unfortunate because this means that when we do go to Oz, it is without Toto,
Yeah.
and we get perhaps the most annoying Oz character I think I've ever come across, who is going to take the role of Toto in this movie. Was it Beatrice? Is that her name?
The chicken.
Yes, the chicken.
Chicken. It doesn't matter what their name is. The chicken.
Oh my
The most
god.
annoying character in all of Oz.
Bellina, it's Bellina.
Bellina.
Bellina the chicken. Yeah,
Bellina.
Bellina the chicken is a talking chicken companion for Dorothy,
Yeah.
and her lovable creature who takes what the role of Toto would be. Except Toto, I think we all agree, rules. He's great. In pretty much every incarnation I've seen Toto's always great. Every single time. I mean, we didn't really get to see him do much in Wicked. I presume he was awesome in there. Wizard of Oz, a stud. Journey Back to Oz, he's actually the reason why we killed the antagonist. He chased the elephants in the end. Elephants crushed our antagonist, Mombi.
Yeah.
Right? So Toto always rules. Belinda, I don't even remember her name. Bellina sucks. Bellina's just the comical chicken that doesn't have anything helpful to say ever.
Yeah, definitely a very annoying character. It's worth mentioning that this film, Return to Oz, is also based on the Marvelous Land of Oz book and an additional book, Ozma of Oz, of course, book by Frank Baum. So the slight difference here between Return to Oz and Journey Back to Oz, which again was the animated one, Journey Back to Oz is only based on the Marvelous Land of Oz, whereas the Return to Oz live action sequel is based on the Marvelous Land of Oz and Ozma of Oz. So two different books. So there's some differences and some similarities between the two films. Pumpkinhead's a glaring one, right? We get Pumpkinhead in both films. Mombi again, yep, is in both films.
Yeah, kind of minor antagonist that we get.
Right. One cool thing, I know we were talking about hating this chicken. One thing that was really cool about Return to Oz, and this is kind of what I hinted at before with like the sophistication of effects that were groundbreaking. You're watching this film from 1985 and you're thinking, was CGI like around then? Is that what they're using? How are they making these characters like talk and move through these rocks and all this stuff, right? And that was actually all claymation. Like all
really
effects, no CGI.
I was really curious about that. That looked pretty good.
Claymation, stop motion, and puppetry in Return to Oz. Really awesome.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So I love that detail, reading about that afterwards. And it does stuff like that's really awesome when they do it like that. Obviously with nowadays you can get by with doing that in CGI and all of that, but it's really cool to see like how creative people were back in 1985 and like how they figured out how to do that.
Yeah. And like you mentioned the tech of this movie, and that is really impressive. I think that's awesome. One thing that really stood out is the idea that they used some like actual on set locations, like Dorothy traveling in the forest, and I gotta admit, like that just does not look good. Like the set that they created for the woods in the Wizard of Oz, it's a set, but like it looks fun, right? Like it's a fantastical land, so like it looks fantastical. The woods that they're in Return to Oz looks like the woods that you'd find in like, I don't know, Florida. Like it looks like Florida Georgia line, and like not even like the fun part of Georgia. Like it's gross looking trees, and you're like, what is this? Like, and I understand the land's supposed to be desolate because of the Gnome King, who has devastated Oz. He's turned all of its residents into stone, including the king, Scarecrow. Right. So when Dorothy arrives in Oz, which she's excited about, she is very scared and disappointed to find that Oz is kind of an apocalyptic wasteland, actually. It even has some like Mad Max characters in it, which could have been cool, but like honestly too zangy and weird. They're the Wheelers.
Strange.
Yeah, they have wheels on their feet, and then they have wheels on their hands, and then they ride on all fours. And it doesn't look like they go very fast, so I don't understand and they don't have asphalt either, and they're using kind of bike tires, but not like BMX bike tires, just like normal bike tires. So like I don't get how they're going anywhere or why they're threatening. They're
Yeah, this
just kind of annoying.
I think this is probably a product of 1985 as well. Like that was actual, those are actors with actual wheels. Like they had to make these things to put wheels on your hands and feet, and so you could like this is the best they could do in 1985 with like making these characters like whatever, because they're supposed to be adapted from the books. So
Right.
it's just a strange situation, which Frank Baum's world is extremely strange. Which
Very strange.
I feel like it gets stranger every movie we watch. But
Which can be good. We like the strangeness. This felt like a strange thing in a different direction, and it
yeah,
didn't feel fantastical or nightmarish.
especially when we finally met the Gnome King. Like, what in the world? Like, I'll talk about a strange villain. You know, like just
I didn't hate the Gnome King, for the
no,
record. Um
yeah,
I enjoy what the Gnome King is, and I like how simply cartoonish his motivations are. So for the record, he's brought wasteland and devastation to Oz because the gemstones used to create the Emerald City and any other kind of luxuries that Oz has enjoyed come from the earth. And he says that, you know, that all of that belongs to the gnomes. It belongs to him. So he's just taking it back. So I actually don't hate that. I was like, yeah, that I don't agree with Mr. Gnome King, but I understand. I understand how he got there, you know?
right.
And I even think that like him as like an antagonist to Dorothy and like the challenge that he presents to Dorothy, which is this a test that is stacked against her, where she is supposed to guess a question correctly, and she has to. What is it? She has to go down into like the treasure room and figure out which of the objects are her friends that have been turned into objects, right?
You have to pick which objects your friend's been turned into, and if you
Right.
only get one shot. So like if you get it wrong, you also turn into an object, and you're just gone forever, basically.
Right. Now,
Um,
whether or not this is clever, I won't argue about that. But I will say, at least Dorothy is doing something in this case, and we get to see Dorothy be intelligent, which in Journey Back to Oz, Dorothy doesn't do anything.
right.
Like she's just kind of there for the ride. Like I said earlier, Woodhead Stallion the Third is the hero of that movie and is the one who like did everything. Dorothy does nothing in that movie. This movie, Dorothy is actively moving the plot along, and when she is challenged, we get to see her use her intelligence. So I would say of our three Dorothys, this is the most effective one in these three films. But yeah, I mean, as far as the plot goes, I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's and the flow is a little rough. It is a 2-hour film, almost 2 hours.
Yeah, this one's like about 2 hours. Yeah, it's a little bit long. Not as long as Wiz.
Not as long as Wiz. Noticeably not as long as Wiz.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely more enjoyable. Like I think it's easier to watch. The one thing that stands out, and I wonder if you noticed this,
Hit me, baby.
Return to Oz. Of all the Oz movies that we have covered so far, including the two we talked about today, this is the only one that is not a musical. No songs.
Oh my gosh, I didn't notice that. I think I was so thankful that there were no breakout songs.
No
I
songs.
didn't even notice it.
No songs sung by characters in Return to Oz.
Not a single one. Yeah, you're
Not a
right.
single one. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that was totally lost on me.
Pretty
Yeah.
big difference, because The Wizard of Oz obviously is a musical. Wiz, based on a musical. Wicked,
Yeah.
musical. The Journey Back to Oz animated has songs in it.
Yeah.
This is the only one, Return to Oz, that we've covered so far that does not have any song sung by characters. Very interesting.
Huh. That is, yeah. Yeah, they really, I guess it speaks to like the darker tones that they were trying to paint with here, right?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, man, there are some dark ideas in there. Mombi, for the record, like is a character that she's taken children's heads and she replaces her head with theirs for beauty and perfection. Yeah, and she has like a whole collection in a hallway.
Yeah.
Dude, right? Like that actually is like horrifying.
Crazy.
Yeah. So dark, interesting ideas, but I don't think any particular idea is like done exceptionally well that really like builds the intrigue. The world doesn't feel like Oz, and I understand that's not right because it's damaged and darker, but it doesn't. It feels like it's Florida.
Yeah, it's
Like it
not
just went out to the
magical.
Florida woods.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
not. It's
magical.
not.
And to your
Yeah.
point, like they filmed, they built most of those sets at the studios in England, and then I think like one or two shots are like actually in like some rural area of England. Um,
Interesting.
Not magical.
England and Florida have more in common than I thought.
Not magical. There's nothing magical there. It's
There's
just
no. That's the thing. Yeah, it's
yeah,
not even dark magic. It's just not
yeah. It
interesting.
doesn't have the same. Yeah, it doesn't have the magical feel of the original Wizard of Oz. It doesn't have the magical feel of Wicked at all.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, a little hard to compare, but not really, I guess, because like
I mean,
the
dude, Wizard of Oz still holds up,
The
man.
Wizard of Oz still holds up. So like there's no reason that they couldn't have made it feel more magical. But
Right.
I guess to your point, it's supposed to be more of like a dark take. And the magic was kind of gone in the Land of Oz during
Sure,
the
I
Return
can
to
get
Oz,
behind that.
right?
But
So
then make the apocalypse interesting. Like it's just not,
yeah,
right?
it falls short. It falls short
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. What any other notes you have?
Um. Oh, we didn't talk about the twist at the end, which is Ozma, who is the Lord of Oz, truly the heir to Oz. She is revealed to be the little girl who was in the insane asylum along with Dorothy, and she, takes her seat as proper ruler of Oz at the very end. I didn't know where that was going. I'm not familiar with the literature on that.
Right.
So when that popped up, I was like, oh, whoa, all right, cool.
Yeah, we've got
Neat.
the canon explanation for who the true ruler of Oz is once the wizard
Yeah.
is there, and it is Ozma. So, okay,
Cool.
sure.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about it. I was like, sure, okay,
We need an Ozma of Oz like story,
right,
like
right. Yeah, where's
the
that?
live-action, just Ozma movie for the third follow up. We need a third sequel.
Oh my god. We're going back, baby. Oh, so for the record, the ending is actually, I think, the funniest part of this movie, which is not meant to be funny. Because I was wondering when Dorothy wants to go back, like, what was gonna happen because she's supposed to be in an insane asylum. So like she gets back and turns out like her family's been out looking for her and they find her. They're so happy to see her, and they they let her know. They're like, hey, that storm totally destroyed that insane asylum. Thank God you weren't in there. Everyone made it out okay, except the doctor who was going to torture you. He ran back in and died. Like, oh, okay, so that's how we're cleaning that plot line up. It's just gone. It's just gone. And Ann's like, I was so silly for trying to send you away to doctors. Let's forget we even talked about it.
Yeah,
like,
unbelievable. And the cool part too is at the end they kind of give Dorothy she can go back to Oz whenever she wants, basically.
Yeah.
So
she's got her little. She's got a key. She's got the mirror.
She's got a gateway back to Oz.
Yeah.
And but surprisingly, we have not gotten the third film of this story since 1985.
Surprisingly,
At least
surprisingly,
maybe there is actually a movie. We still
there's so many Oz movies. There probably is.
There probably is actually. We'll cover that in Ozfest Part 4.
Oh my gosh.
This is an Oz Universe podcast now. Nothing else.
We're never leaving. I just want to be home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
Hey Dorothy,
get me out of here.
You need some slippers to enable for that to happen.
Yeah, you're right. I was clacking Toms right now, and that's not working.
Oh my goodness.
Toms aren't taking me home.
My goodness. All right, Joe. Give me a ranking 1 through 3 on these 3 films. What's the order? What's the order of these?
I think it's gonna be the same exact order for you. It's Wiz at 3, Return at 2, and Journey Back at 1.
Yeah, which is crazy.
I had a good time with Journey Back.
Yeah, I'm not a big animated film guy, and that's number 1 for me too on these on this list here. So that just goes to show you what we're dealing with.
Real quick on just Journey Back to Oz. So for anyone who is familiar with the 2014 miniseries Over the Garden Wall, if you love that series, and which I've never met somebody who has not loved that series, there are obvious, parallels between Over the Garden Wall and The Wizard of Oz in general. However, the first like 5 minutes that we spend in Oz, in Journey Back to Oz, it is very clear where the inspiration for Over the Garden Wall comes from. I'll just say that. Take a look at it. There are so many parallels between the first 5 minutes of that and the first episode of Over the Garden Wall. It is visually very fun.
And if you're wondering what Over the Garden Wall is, we have Joe pitched that to me in one of our Added to Your List episodes, which you can check out.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Yeah. Did you ever watch that?
no, I still have not gotten to that. Yeah, I think I'm just.
Did it make it to your list? I don't remember if it made it on your list.
I think it did, but like, you know, it's
Son of a bitch.
I will say I'm coming around to the animated stuff, and I think around the Halloween next year I will do my best to check out.
That's the best time to watch it.
Yeah, I've heard. so so yeah, that's gonna do it for Ozfest Part 3, everybody. Go ahead and please subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you think about these 3 films, if you've seen them, what your thoughts are. Let us know what you agree and disagree with. Follow us on Threads. Of course, you can follow us here on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. Coming up next at the top of the year, we're going to finish our time travel draft.
Woo!
So stay tuned for that. We've also got
safety not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed. Joe's pick. And we're going to finish. We're going to follow up our 12 Monkeys video about the ending of 12 Monkeys and what that entails. So that is the beginning of the year. But keep track with us through the rest of December as we continue exploring the Wizard of Oz and the Ozverse, if you will. Until next time, my friends.
May the review be with you.
Peace.